Michigan, right on the St. Clair River, which is beautiful. And right on the other side of the river is none other than our friendly little neighbors to the north, Canada. It's pretty crazy. The weather up here has been fantastic. We got some rain last night, which didn't really do anything but just kind of cool everything off. I'm headed over to this camper. The customer has filed a claim with his insurance company. He had a little tiny, I went and inspected it yesterday. He had a tiny little hole near the rear of the camper. Hang on, I'm coming through this little turnaround here. I'll tell you what, man. I'll tell you what. Whoever came up with the idea for turnarounds or traffic circles, whatever you want to call them, traffic circles. Whoever came up with that idea, I hope they won a Nobel Prize for logistics or whatever the case is, but those things are fantastic. But back to the camper. He had a little tiny pinhole. Looked like something had rubbed up against it, and of course has created a tremendous amount of water damage. If you've seen some of my past videos, 99% of these campers are decked with OSB type, that particle board type plywood, which if you get some water in there, it's just going to soak it right up. Well, doing my inspection, I was walking the roof and I found another soft spot that the customer was not aware of, and upon further inspection there's a tear about 1.5 inches long, a little cut. I'm not sure what caused it. It's a pretty clean cut. Something obviously fell and hit the roof, a tree branch, something, but it too has allowed water in there, which is soaked into that OSB. And the unfortunate thing is both of these areas of water input occurred right where two pieces of plywood come together. So it's not just a matter of replacing one sheet of plywood, two of them have to be replaced. So this camper is going to have a total of 4 sheets to be replaced. It's a 30-foot long fifth wheel, and I'm hoping today that everything goes smooth. We can get those 4 sheets off and get the four new sheets on, and then we'll come back with the fabric system to cover up that new plywood, get that embedded in a coat. The remaining membrane that we are not removing, we'll get that primed, and then tomorrow we can do our base coat, and then Saturday, third day, we'll hopefully get the final coat and be all done. I don't think it's supposed to rain anymore. Weather's currently 52 degrees. If it's humid out there, I haven't noticed it. Weather has been on point, and I am thrilled with the weather. I just got a text. I'm in a group text with my brothers and an old college buddy of mine. They're down in Texas, and he sent the weather report today, and it's supposed to be 103 heat index. 103. I sent him a screenshot of my temperature, and it looks like the high for us today is going to be 71 degrees. That's a big difference, and I will take 71 over 103 all day long. This is it. This is a Crusader Prime Time by Forest River. About 30 feet long, fifth wheel. And as I mentioned before, got 2 spots up here with some damage, so let's go check it out. Notice it, but at first, when you get up here, you see it's not much at all, but it's enough to let the water in. And you can fail. it's just damaged all of that. Oh, as I was walking, I got to this spot over here, and you can super soft. I was looking around, and right there, something nicked this roof. So if you have a travel trailer, motorhome, fifth wheel, and you're able to, try to get up on that roof and inspect that thing as often as you can. It's going to be hard to see all of those little spots, especially like that one that was there in the back. But if you can always look around, inspect all your seams where everything comes up through the roof, the caulking. You want to look for cracks, and especially where this flange ends, it creates a lip there, and obviously they caulk over this with this lap sealant and then get over the screws. You want to look for any cracks that are along that lip, and then any cracks over the screw holes, because that's what's going to let water in every time. So make sure you're checking those well. For example, this here, you can see the flange comes right around here. You can see it underneath there. And it's not cracking anywhere, but this isn't that big of a deal because it's just going to go down inside that screw head and not really make its way in. But the caulking is getting really thin right there, and at some point, if it gets thin around the screw head, then, I mean, believe it or not, it doesn't take much, and water will get underneath that screw head, down through, and it's going to make its way into the wood. It's going to be a little bit harder if you've got these Max Air fan covers, because it covers all the caulk, and so you can't really see it, but it's going to be an issue underneath there. And it's going to be good practice to take these off when you clean your roof, or if you have your roof cleaned, because every time I take these off, and I'll show you later, they are just filthy underneath, completely filthy. Here's the antenna. And you see here something's pushed up against that. I don't know what it might have been. This looks scraped up, so maybe you just run underneath a tree or some tree branches or something, which could have done that. It's starting to kind of crack and peel there. I don't know, it looks like it peeled back as they put it on, but if I owned this RV and I was up here inspecting this, I'd probably want to go ahead and try to recaulk some of that just to be on the safe side. And we look at our front termination bar up here. All in all, just at a glance, it looks pretty good. You don't see any spots where it's cracking or peeling up just yet, but that's something you want to look for. And again, if you can see those screw heads, or you see any crack or peeling in that caulking, that sealant, then that's absolutely a place that water is going to get. And you want to make sure that you take care of that just as soon as possible. Okay, well, I know I'm coming, so I got 1, 2, 3 sheets. I need this one and that one, so I don't necessarily have to wash all these. I am going to get that nice and clean. I'm going to wash that pretty well, get all that up there power washed, and then the rest of this membrane is all coming off. But I do want to make sure that I wash down both sides super well, because if you can see, we will coat over this in this screw trim that holds the gutter into place and ties all this together. I'm going to take my coating and come all the way down into here. So we've got all of these potential points of entry for water are covered. It's just screws back behind here, and this screw trim does a really good job of keeping water out, but it's not perfect. So we'll come back, caulk all of this, coat over it all the way down into the gutter, so water has no place to go but straight into that gutter when it rains. So we got quite a bit of work ahead of us here. I'm gonna get this membrane opened up and get access to all that plywood so that we can see. Some of these are just screwed down, and then some of these are nailed down with, I don't know, 4 to 5 million nails. The guys at the factory just take it a little bit too far. And if that's the case, then it's really difficult to pry this OSB up with all those nails, because all it wants to do is tear and break apart. So we're crossing our fingers that it's screwed down and there's a minimal amount of nails. Hopefully the guy at the factory that day was not in the mood to work and just went light on the nails. Crazy. That little tiny cut just lets all that water in, and it just soaks and soaks and soaks. You can see that's just, there's nothing left. Man. From that one tiny little hole to this. So every time it rains, that water is just seeping in. You can see how much damage it's done. But we got it. All right, well, I got this membrane pulled off, and if you remember that teeny tiny little hole, that's what was underneath it. That, folks, is disgusting. Ugh. So got that peeled back, and you can see there's a seam right here, and that damage is spanned over into this piece of wood as well. So we're going to replace both of these sheets. But that's why you need to get up and inspect your roof. If you hear that wood start cracking, kind of back off, because All right, well, finally got all this removed and replaced after the 6 million nails. Got the 2 new sheets there, and I got 2 sheets back there. Tomorrow I'll get this membrane removed, I'll get the air conditioner removed. We'll get all this covered in our fabric, get that embedded in some coating, get the vent put back in the plumbing vent. All this up here is going to get primed. Got a couple of tarps up here. I want to cover it up just to be safe. I don't think it's supposed to rain, but that's gonna wrap it up for today. I'm gonna go ahead and close this video out. And hey, if you like this kind of stuff, give me a like and a subscribe, and join me on the next video. We'll get this process started. All right, thanks guys. Bye.